Hello and welcome to this video. In this video I talk about some strategies to avoid burnout, and disclaimer, burnout is a huge topic, so this video should just add to the conversations and it's my strategies, and so pick and choose what applies to you and what doesn't. So the first one that really helped me was authenticity. So it's really important to be able to be authentic in your business, to have the feeling I can be myself in my job and that is okay. And that is so important, because if you don't have that, it can feel like, for example, in a business context, you creating a business but with a false persona of yourself, and then even if that business is successful, you feel like a failure because it's not who you truly are. And that can apply to any other type of job or career. So for example, if you're into law, you're a lawyer, and so but you're really interested in human rights, for example, but somehow you ended up, because you got a job by maybe a friend or something in a corporate law, you end up in corporate law and you hate what you do. That can cause a lot of feelings of anger, frustration, and eventually it might even lead to burnout because you're misaligned with your values. So that's why it's so important to figure out what are your values, and so that you can switch into a career path that fits you better. So for example, in that context of law, it's more easy. You can switch into human rights law. Even though maybe you might earn less money, you still have more purpose and you're aligned with your values. So that is really important one. The same, for example, for me, an example was in the way of YouTube, for example. So it's just like that some videos will perform better than others, because there's just some topics that on YouTube humans want to watch more. They are more drawn to it. First one is drama, so any type of relationship rupture or death, whatever it is, that will perform better. In my case, also what I eat in a day videos, they perform better because people love to watch food because they're hungry maybe. And also some other topics would be family, showing your family or family content, that type of thing, or pregnancy, couple relationship, that type of content performs really well because that's just what people like to watch. But it's really important, and that's also what I had to learn for myself, to always come back to myself and say, what is it that I want to produce? What videos do I want to produce? What is important to me? And to make it about your own journey. And that can be so helpful to prevent burnout, because what happens if you only go after the content that will perform well is that you lose connection with yourself. And it's so important, if it's your own business, to come back to what are my values, what is important to me. And then if a video get a lot of views or no views, it doesn't matter, because it's important to you and it will help you to not get burned out. So that was really important lesson for me, to keep that value of authenticity, so that you can really also attract people that are a good fit for you. And you can only attract those people if you're authentic with what you're going through and with what is important to you. Another one is allowing yourself to pivot and change, because some people, I don't want to judge it in a way, but maybe some people would say they're more lucky that they have one profession that they're their whole life passionate about. So for example, you work as a doctor in the area of helping people improve their eyesight, for example, and that's something that you want to do for the rest of your life, and that is great. But for many people, we have more careers in our lifetimes and more things that interest us, and that is okay as well. And I think that for me, that's such a huge important lesson for me to learn, and that I don't have to put myself in a box, and I'm a human being, so I'm allowed to change, I'm allowed to learn new things, I'm allowed to pivot and turn, obviously always with the baseline that I have enough money to support myself. But it's important to allow yourself to change and to say, okay, just because I have, for example, worked 20 years in one career, if it doesn't fulfill me anymore, if it doesn't excite me anymore, if I don't like it anymore, it's okay for me to pivot and change. And I think that's really important, and I think that many people don't do it because they say, hey, I worked 20 years in that one profession and I have maybe reached a certain level, and I have also reached a certain level of income, I don't want to give it up, or maybe they even cannot give it up. And that can lead to just a lot of internal frustration, and that can lead to also burnout probably eventually. So that's why it's so important. Obviously, always only if it's possible for you, but if it's possible for you to allow yourself to grow as a human being and to change, and to feel like, okay, if that career is not working for me anymore, to at least give something else a try and see how it works. So that is important. Also, what really a huge thing that can help to prevent burnout, and that probably more like high achievers fall into that category, and also perfectionists, and I also felt into that category, is to have a very high demand from yourself, so the expectation of you to be perfect, but it's unrealistic. It's very unrealistic because no human is perfect. There will always be faults in the system when it is man-made, because humans are imperfect. So it's really important to change your perspective. And also what really helped me when it comes to my job, to, for example, in teaching, to not come from the perspective of like, I have to know it all and I have to be perfect in order to help other people, but to come more from a perspective of, okay, I have already gone through a certain transformation and struggle, and I have learned from that. And also I have for example, in the context of being a nutritionist, I have overcome, for example, being overweight or whatever it is, and I have reached a healthy relationship with food. And also I have academic knowledge, like I did courses and whatever not. So to come from a perspective, okay, I will see you not as like someone beneath me and I have to be that perfect person, but to see it more as like, okay, I'm more like a friend in a way, that I can help you and I do my best to help you in whatever way possible, because I have already gone through a certain transformation and because I have that certain amount of knowledge. So to come from a different perspective and to not say, okay, I have to be this perfect person. Like the same with teaching languages, it's not about you never making any mistakes in teaching, but it's really you just coming from a perspective of you have gone for a transformation, or you just have more knowledge in that area and you have a certain expertise in that area, and you to the best that you can help the other person. And that's a very different concept, and that helped me tremendously, and I think it's also helping other people tremendously if you can shift that inner pressure, because the first image of being that you have to be that perfect person, especially if you have your own business, it can cause so much inner pressure, and it can destroy you really. If you have that inner pressure, it can really completely wipe out all your mental health if you have that inner pressure. So to switch to that other module of saying, okay, I'm imperfect and I will just do my best, that is a completely different level, because it can completely erase the inner pressure that you have, and it can allow you to be your authentic self, and it can allow you to come back to who you are and to let go of all that pressure. Because in the end, what matters is just like that you are happy. It's so important for you to be happy in your profession, because if you're not happy, it's hard to be productive for a lot of years. It's maybe possible to do a sprint that way or a couple of years, but to be unhappy in a career and still do it on a high level for many decades is just very unlikely. So yeah, allow yourself to be imperfect, switch into that other picture of, instead of being that having to be that perfect master, switch into the picture of being a friend or a sister who helps others on their journey. Very different picture, helped me so much. Another one is to recognize that struggle is universal. That also goes a little bit hand in hand with that expectation of yourself to be perfect, because the reality of the situation is that most people struggle with something in their life, let it be relationship, jobs, whatever it is. Humans are meant to struggle, and I think that that's really important. And so if you share your struggles with people and also share what you have learned from those struggles, it can really open up a safe space for people to also feel validated about their struggles and to share lessons with each other. And I think that is also very valuable, and that's really something that I've learned in therapy, is that no one has it figured out. Because I always had the perception like, okay, adults, I mean, some adults probably have it more figured out than others because of the beliefs that they have worked on, or because of the benefits that they got from their parents, but most people have it not figured out. And that was a lesson that I could learn in therapy, and it really helped me to decrease that amount of pressure that I put on myself. And yeah, so struggle is universal, and if you share your lessons with people, it's not like you don't look like a hot mess. Maybe if some people don't understand how trauma works, it might seem to them like that, but it's not like you cannot like it's not you can just do your best, you can share what is important to you, and in the end what people think about you, it doesn't concern you. So really important, most people struggle, if not everyone struggle with something. So yeah, allow yourself to struggle as a human being, and separate also, like I really like that concept also. For example, therapists, they split and they say, for example, okay, this is my professional perspective, this is what I am supposed to say based on my qualifications that I get in the area of psychology. So that is what I am supposed to say as a psychologist, but that is also my personal opinion on this subject matter. And that's also really great to have like that, to put it in two different categories. Okay, this is my job, this is my profession, and if I want to excel in that profession, that is one thing, but my life, I'm allowed to be a human being and to make mistakes. So that was really important for me, to decrease the amount of pressure that I put on myself. Because if you have high amounts of pressure that you put on yourself, it's a recipe for burnout, at least in my opinion. Another one that is really important is to achieve some sort of life-work balance in a way that you are always your number one priority. So your mental health and your physical health should be should be your number one priority, because without your health, you have nothing. And I think I knew that obviously because became a nutritionist, so I knew that physical health is so important. But I think especially the last years, especially the last 6 months, I've learned without your mental health, if your mental health is not in order, you have nothing. And it doesn't matter what you eat, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter if you're healthy or not. If your mental health is not good, nothing matters anymore. So that's why it's so important to prioritize your mental health, and that can look different for each person, but whatever makes you happy, you just make sure, if it's possible of course, to integrate that in some way or another into your life. So for example, for me, what makes me happy is connection, so spending time with my boyfriend or friends, family, whatever it is, and also dancing, because dancing makes me really happy. So sometimes my head can get in the way and saying like, oh, if you dance you don't make money or something, but it makes me happy. And whatever it is for you that makes you happy, try to integrate that into your life, and never get too busy to not do things that you enjoy anymore. I think that's really important, to have that certain type of balance. Of course, it's very idealistic for some people, because some people have just different life conditions, but I think that's really an aim that I aim to have a certain life work balance, and to be able to take care of my mental health and physical health. Because if we don't do that, if we have the chance or not, one time we will just break down, and then we have to make time for it. So yeah, and the last one that I want to share, and that's also related more with trauma, is to take care of your mental health. And one huge step in taking care of your mental health is changing your inner monologue with yourself. So there are some people who are very lucky because they grew up in maybe with parents who encourage them, and they don't have that problem. But for a lot of people, we have that problem of negative self-talk. So it's very, very important, in order to have good mental health, to change that inner monologue that we have with ourselves, to become more compassionate with ourselves, and to say, for example, instead of saying, oh, I uploaded that video and I said something wrong and now I'm frustrated with myself, say, oh my god, I uploaded that video, that was amazing. And if people watch it or not, who cares? But I know that I did my best. And that can happen in all types of contexts, also in work context, for example, to say, oh, I made this mistake at work, I'm so stupid, I hate myself, to say instead, okay, I made that mistake at work and that's normal, I'm human, next time I will try to make it better and it's all good. So it's a whole different monologue that you can have with yourself. And these were some of the tips. There are many more that really help to prevent burnout, and prevent hating your life and hating your work and sabotaging your work. So yeah, what are your strategies to help to prevent burnout? Did you ever experience burnout? What is that for you? Write it down in the comment section. If you liked that video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.